Backwards Moon, Chapter 10. At the very top floor of the human house, Nettle stood at a small, dusty window, her face pressed close to the glass. The row of houses seemed to spread to the end of the world. No mountains rose behind them. She turned and ran back down the hall. She found another room, another window, but there were no mountains. She ran to another room, then another and another, until she knew she had looked in every direction, and still there were no mountains. The sun was low over the housetops now. Maybe when night came, the stars would give her some clue as to where home was, though Bracken had always been better at stars. Nettle pushed the thought away. Below her lay the walled garden, the one she'd seen through the glass doors in the big room. Asters and goldenrod bloomed amid graceful tall grasses. An ancient-looking oak tree spread its branches above a circle of rowan trees laden with their red berries. The long garden beds seemed to be planted with herbs, though from a distance Nettle could not tell what kind. In a far corner she could see a little stone roof poking above a thicket of hazel bushes. She leaned her face against the window pane, trying not to think about home, about Bracken, about anything, but it didn't work. She thought about Scabiosa and Rose, who were always there, steady and comforting. She thought about Aunt Iris, who loved her so in her scatterbrained way, always. She remembered Sedge and Reed with their merry eyes and quiet jokes. She pictured the cozy circle of cottages and her own empty bed, and Bracken there in the sleeping loft alone, and her heart hurt so she could barely stand it. Then she drifted back down the hall, from room to empty room. She padded softly down the big staircase, around and around on the wide stairs, until she found herself again in the big room with the chandelier. She was looking toward the doors that opened on the garden when she noticed something along one wall. It was a row of glass-topped, glass-fronted boxes, set on wooden legs. Nettle walked toward them. Inside the boxes were carved stone figures, wooden masks, pottery bowls, and many other strange and intriguing things. Beside each one sat a small white card. Indonesia, collection of W.A. Atkinson, read one. Papua New Guinea, read another, collection of W.A. Atkinson. Nettle went from one to the next, looking at everything. Then suddenly she stopped. For there, resting on a soft brown cloth embroidered with oak leaves and acorns, was a stone about the size of a loaf of bread. It was blue-green, veined with deeper green. A seeking stone, she realized, hardly breathing. The paper beside the stone read, Collection of W.A. Atkinson. What? Said Nettle, outraged. It was a witch's stone. How could it belong to a human? She raised her finger and shot out a thin blue spark. Then swiftly she cut a hole in the glass. The cut circle dropped onto the stone below and shattered into several pieces. Nettle reached in and nudged the broken glass aside. Then she lifted out the seeking stone and slipped it into her pocket. It wasn't stealing, she told herself. Humans had no right to a seeking stone, or to the cloth, the woodfolk cloth, she thought, snatching it up. Collection of W.A. Atkinson, indeed. Near where the stone had been, she noticed a small book bound in faded green leather. There was something about it. She hesitated only an instant before seizing it and slipping it into her pocket. She ran back up the stairs, heart beating, floor after floor, until she came to the highest window. She unlatched it, pushed it open, and climbed through onto the steep slate roof. Darkness lay over the glowing city. It was night, and yet not at all like night at home. The sky was not velvet black, but a dull, bruised purple. The cat's highway and all but the very brightest constellations had vanished. Nettle crept to a chimney and sat down, shaken. Later, much later, Nettle sometimes wondered what would have happened if she had climbed on her broomstick right then and flown off into the not dark night. But instead, she only sat, numbly. The city's roar made a long and sinister drone. Then below her, something came gliding down the street. It was the girl with the pale hair. She was riding a little frame set above two whirling wheels. The girl's knees bobbing up and down seemed to make it go. The girl turned sharply and glided up a path that led to the house. The two-wheeled thing stopped. She swung her leg up and over. She was wearing trousers, like a woodfolk man, and jumped off. Then she pushed the wheeled thing quickly over the grass, hid it in a clump of bushes, and ran toward the front steps. Witch! Witch girl! She called from below. Are you there? Nettle crouched by the chimney. From below came knocking and tapping. The girl went around to the side of the house and tapped on another window. Hello! She called. Hello! Nettle pulled out her broomstick. She stared down, wavering. The girl walked slowly back to the bushes. She stared up at the house for a moment more, then she pulled out the wheeled thing. She set it upright and straddled it. "Wait!" cried Nettle, swooping down. The girl froze. "Who are you?" said Nettle, landing. "Elizabeth! Elizabeth Boeing. And I came to tell you, that kid Jason, I heard him on the bus. He said he's going to bring his friends tomorrow to look for you in the Atkinson house. And he said he's going to tell his dad to tell the police to go look for you too. And police have dogs, and dogs can smell. So I thought I should tell you, warn you." "I'll be gone by morning," said Nettle. "I have to get home. But the stars are gone, and I can't see the mountains." "Can't you just magic yourself home?" "It's not that simple." "You could come to my house," said Elizabeth. "You could hide there. My parents wouldn't be able to see you, would they?" "No," Nettle said slowly. "It's awesome, I have to say, that grown-ups can't see you. The teachers, they looked right at you." She laughed softly. "I mean, imagine the possibilities." "Everybody else saw me," Nettle frowned, remembering. Elizabeth frowned too. "It was terrible. Everybody pointing and staring and screaming like that. Stupid. But there's no one at my house but me and my parents. Jason and the others, you'd be safe from them, and the police and dogs and everyone." Nettle bit her lip, hesitating. "Today, when you came, it was amazing." Elizabeth paused. "I always, read about magic, and then it happened." "I guess I could hide at your house," said Nettle. Elizabeth smiled widely. "All right," she said, "follow me. Stay high, though." Nettle flew behind as Elizabeth glided away, her shadow flickering beneath the lanterns that lit each side of the street. They turned onto a new street and then another. Each street seemed to be part of a network of many streets, all laid out in squares. After a time, they turned onto a narrower street where the houses were smaller and made of wood instead of stone. Elizabeth stopped and waved Nettle down. "See that house there? The white one with the green roof and the big evergreen right next to it? That's my house. My room is on the second floor, in the back there, behind, see? I'm going to sneak in and, well, I've sort of missed dinner, and I'm going to be in trouble, which is okay, really, because they'll just send me to my room, and then I can let you in the window." She looked at Nettle earnestly. "Got that?" Nettle nodded. "Okay," said Elizabeth. "Here goes." Nettle hovered outside Elizabeth's window for what seemed like a long time. At last the light came on. Elizabeth slid open the window. Nettle ducked and flew through. "My parents' bedroom is down the hall, so we'll have to be really, really quiet," Elizabeth whispered. "Right now they're still downstairs. They're not too mad, really, so it's okay." "That's good," whispered Nettle. Elizabeth watched admiringly as Nettle stowed her broomstick in her pocket. "Cool, very cool. So this is my room." "It's nice," said Nettle, blinking. Everything seemed to be a very bright color. Pink, purple, yellow, green. Heaps of clothing were scattered all over the floor. Books and papers nearly covered the bed. "Are you tired?" Elizabeth asked. "You look pretty tired." She rummaged underneath the bed. "I have a sleeping bag for when friends stay over, but if my mom comes and it looks like someone's in it and no one's there, she might start wondering. So if you hear anything, get out quick and shove the sleeping bag under the bed, okay? Do you want some pajamas or a nightgown?" "I need to keep my dress on and my hat right near." Nettle paused. "It's our dresses and hats that make us invisible." "Okay," said Elizabeth. "The bathroom's down the hall. I'll show you the way, but be really, really quiet. Did you bring a toothbrush?" Nettle looked at her blankly. The sleeping bag was soft and very comfortable, and the bathroom was a wonder, an amazing invention. Elizabeth shoved a cascade of stuff from the bed and climbed in. "Tomorrow is Saturday," she whispered. "Yes!" "Saturday," said Nettle drowsily, trying to remember what Saturday was. Some kind of human something or other, and in another moment she was asleep.